Welcome back to Adobe Illustrator 2014 release, Classroom in a Book. This is Chapter 7, Adding Type to a Poster. Make sure you have downloaded your files from Peach Pit and that you know where you have put them, extracted them, and opened 7 Start. You can at this point do the restore to everything in the that they talk about at getting started. If you choose not to, um, you simply need to go in and reset your essentials again so that everything is where it's supposed to be. If you wish to open and look at the file that you have as your reference file for the end, 7 end. If you open that, you will get a missing fonts dialog box. You just need to close that. The type that is not loaded on your computer is going to appear in pink. So it'll be highlighted with a pink background. And that simply means that you don't have that font available. It was something that was built that you can't see, or you don't have available on your computer. Go ahead and just close that dialog box, look at the finished file, and you will cover the issue with the text later during the chapter. So right now, you need to go to File, open your Al7 Start A. You will see that there are some non-text components in it. So we have some items that have been drawn for you to start with. Right now, those layers are locked and you cannot touch them, but they are indeed, they are indeed design pieces that were put in. Don't worry about them. You won't be needing to do anything with them. I do believe those are, yes, they are locked paths, and they're the controls are semi-hidden on them. You will not need to worry about working with those at this point. You need to go to File and choose Save As, and you're going to save that as Zoo Poster. And again, include your initials so that I can identify whose file is who, and save that. You need to go up to View and make sure that your Smart Guides are turned off. So go to Smart Guides, and there's no check mark on there. If you have a check mark, turn it off. The default should, for this, because we're opening an existing file, should come up with them turned off, but you don't want to have those on at this point because we are going to be working primarily with type, and if the smart files are on, or I'm sorry, smart guides are on, those will make your text snap to some of these existing pieces that are here, and we do not want that to happen. In this lesson, we are working primarily with type. We are going to add type to this poster. There are different ways that you can add type. It's a very powerful tool. You can do a single line of type. You can create columns. You can create rows. You can work with a section of type like you would in any word processing program. You can do you can add type to a path. So if you draw a shape, you can have the type follow that path. You can put type inside any selected area, which is called area type. And the other one is point type. Point type is simply means that you're going to click on a space and you're going to start typing with it. And that's what we're going to start with first. Text at a point, which is called point type. It's a horizontal or a vertical line of type that begins where you click, and it expands as you enter each letter. Each line of text is going to be independent. The line can expand or shrink as you edit it. It won't wrap like working in Word. You have to add a paragraph return, or you have to do a soft return. For those of you that have taken the keyboarding. A soft return is a you do a control enter rather than simply entering. And so we're going to use this to start this part of the lesson. The single line of type is very useful if you're adding a headline or only a few lines of text to your artwork. We're going to enter some text in the poster as point type. So make sure, first of all, go to your artboards, make sure that the flyer is your active artboard. If you go to view artboard in window, that will be fine, or simply take your zoom tool and click a couple of times in the center, well, actually in the upper left corner of the artboard a couple of times to bring that up. Remember, wherever you click, that's going to be what's centered in your window. So now go and show layers. Make sure that you are on your text layer, which right now is the only layer that is not locked. So if you are on something else, you are not going to be able to enter any type. Yet once you have the text layer selected, you can collapse that panel and you're going to go and pick up your type tool. Notice that if you hold down, you're going to see there's a whole bunch of different options on here. There's the type on a path, vertical area type, vertical type on a path tool, touch type tool. We want the top one, which is simply the type tool. And you just need to click somewhere in the white area in this upper left section of the artboard, and you'll get your cursor flashing on the artboard, and just type in all uppercase. You can use your cap locks if you want to. Just remember they're turned on. Zoo tails. Okay, now that we've typed zoo tails, just go to your selection tool. Notice that the bounding box appears around the text. You can drag from the bounding box. Don't drag from this circle. That's not going to work. But you can drag from the bounding box, or you can simply click on the text and you can drag the text around. You can drag to the right, and notice as you or if you move your text around like that, you can put it anywhere you want. If you grab the one of the center anchor points around there, you're going to be able to stretch your type. You can stretch it from either side. The box is not what you're trying to grab. I mean, not the box, the circle here. That's got another function. So just grab the anchor point and you can stretch that out. Undo your scale. I'm going to undo a couple of times. Control Z will take me back. Pretty much unlimited undos using Control Z. And if I go again to my Fit Art View and Fit Artboard in Window, we're going to work with some other sections. We're going to next add area type. I'm on the top of page 214. Adding area type, it uses a boundary of an object, like a rectangle, to control the flow of characters. You can do this either horizontally or vertically. When the text reaches the boundary, it's going to wrap to fit. Entering text like this is very useful to add paragraphs, like for this poster, or if you're doing a brochure, or anything like that. To create area type, you click with the text tool where you want the text, and you drag to create an area type object that's called a text area. You can convert an existing shape or object to a text object by simply clicking the edge of it or inside that area with your type tool. When your cursor appears, you can start typing. An area type object has two extra boxes called ports. So let me show you this on the side here. So if I click and drag like this, and I select my box simply by using the select tool, I will have these little boxes on the corners One is an in port and one is an out port. And what those are used for is so that you can thread text from one area to another. We'll do that later in the lesson. We're going to create an area type object and enter more type. Okay, so now let me delete this, and guess what? We're going to turn our smart guides back on. It was simply for the zoo tails at this point, but we are going to go and use our smart guides. Now, we want to view zoo sign. So there is a stored zoo or stored type area, and there's a shape down here at the bottom that is filled with black. That is going to be the zoo sign. Now, if you take your type tool and position the cursor to the left of the striped tail, and you're going to be up, somewhere in through here. If you want to, you can zoom in a little bit tighter, simply because it's easier to see. And somewhere around about in here, we're just going to click off to the side. We want to get this maybe lined up a little bit, and you're just going to click and you're going to drag down about like this. And somewhere around an inch. I'm not too concerned about the size of it because you're going to change this. And once you've drawn that, all you need to do, notice the cursor is already splashing in there. You don't need to click again anything, just start typing. Oh, and I forgot I had my cap locks on. It's my mistake. Let me take those off. Okay. The text wraps horizontally. It fits the type area. By default, when you create area type, by dragging with the type tool, the type area will not resize to fit the text. If there's too much text, the text that doesn't fit won't be visible and it will be considered what is called an overset. And remember, if you do that, when you do that, if you have an area that's too small, undo. I'm dragging the wrong thing. If you had an area that was too small, you'd get a notification. See, that output then would turn to being that, to have this little plus sign in there, indicating there's more text available. So let me drag this back out so that my text kind of fits. And I'm going to pick up I'm going to make sure that my text box is selected. And if you look at the bottom, the middle bounding point there, there's another little box that's sticking out from it, kind of like a little tail. And what that means is that the area type is not set to auto size. If you hover over the box, um, the little widget at the bottom is going to change to this little thing. And if you double click on that now, when you double click that little widget, you're going to turn auto sizing on. As the text then is edited, the frame is going to shrink or grow to accommodate the changing amount of type. This eliminates the overset text problem without having to manually size and resize the frames. So if you pick up your text tool and you click after the words California, do an enter or return and type in San Diego, and the area type automatically expands to fit the new text.